Hey everybody, Paul Vojchehoske. Welcome to Nebraska Landlord. I'm continuing discussing the series on legislative bills that have been introduced in front of the legislature in 2026. The next legislative bill I want to talk about is 880. This was introduced by State Senator Victor Roundtree Guerreca, Guereca. I apologize. I have no idea how it's pronounced. I'm a little sympathetic to that myself. If you know my last name and you've seen it, it's been mispronounced several times, so I apologize. Nonetheless, this state senator has introduced LB 880, and this one is kind of a weird one. When we're done, you might go, oh, well, why would somebody even care about that? So if 880 passes, what's going to happen is it would require that any ACH rent payment transaction be free of all fees, meaning the tenant could not be required to pay the fee associated with that ACH rent payment. I actually did a little bit of research on this, and I talked to many landlords and managers, and honestly, there's a lot of platforms that are out there that will do a rent payment via ACH. ACH payment would just be like online bill pay or a bank draft, auto bank draft, or electronics funds transfer, something like that. We do it all the time in America now online. There's a lot of platforms that'll do it for you for nothing, but there are a lot of platforms that do charge. For example, property managers, they have their property management software, and a lot of those software platforms do that function, but there is a fee associated with it, which is typically passed on to the tenant. Now, usually it's not very much, but there is a fee. In other cases, landlords, some of them have fee-based revenue models, and that's one of them. What I'm saying here is, if this passed, would it have a huge impact on the industry? No, it wouldn't. Here's the real story behind LB 880. Anytime there is any kind of a legislative bill or even an ordinance at Omaha or Lincoln level, I always like to research it. And here's what I find. Many times you'll see the exact language that's in the legislative bill in Nebraska. You'll find the same language in a bill that was introduced in Pennsylvania State House or Utah State House or LA or Chicago. This is a national concerted effort by a couple of very large, well-funded nonprofits, very pro-tenant nonprofits, that what they do is they're trying to get it all the way across the United States, these type of things passed, whether it's at the state level or the local level. They will find a state senator in a state or a city council member in a particular city. They will write the ordinance for them to make sure that it's compliant with Nebraska law. They will fund it. They will give campaign contributions to that politician as an incentive to introduce it. And many times at that point, the state senator doesn't even have to really advocate for it. The nonprofits at the state level and the local level will then be the ones that go and do the rah-rah for getting this passed. It used to be they were swinging for home runs. Last year we had several landlord tenant bills introduced that were really a drastic change from the norms, and they didn't go anywhere. We're seeing nationwide a different approach. Small step approach. This is nothing. If LB 880 passes, the impact will be negligible, but what it does is gets it on the books, and it sets the precedent. So then next year they can pass another type of bill that covers more fees that we see in our industry, and they can go back and say, well, we passed LB 880 last year, and there was really no effect or impact negatively on the industry. So based on our research, we think that we can also now include these fees or this, whatever it is, and we feel that the same will be this. It'll be negligible because we have the history. They're changing their approach. Instead of trying to hit the home run, they're just doing it a little tiny step, baby steps at a time. That's what LB 880 is. It represents the baby step. There is a huge push right now across the United States for rent control and limit fees. Because if you have rent control, the only way you can make up the difference is implementing fees, fee-based property management. And there is a war against that, and that's how they're doing it. And that is the basis for LB 880. It's not about the fact that the tenant's paying a few bucks for the transaction. I mean, no one's complaining about them going to the ATM machine and paying $5 to get a $20 bill out. They're complaining about the $3 that they're being charged for ACH. By the way, if this passes, it's mandatory. You cannot waive it either. So just so you know that. So take a few minutes, opine with your state senator, let them know how you feel about that. I'll have a link down below in the comments section where you can find your state senator and opine with them. So